Hello, Earthlings. Welcome to RGN, the regular guy news. I am Dan Black. I am your host. I am your anchor. And let's get after it. What do you say, all you Cuomo heads? Let's get after it, because we gotta go with Chris Cuomo's catchphrase, because we're gonna Cuomo it up today, daddies. Welcome to RGN, the regular guy news, the least pretentious name in news. If you're new to this podcast, this is the podcast where I, a news junkie, watch the news and go, wait, what? What are they not saying? Why are they not answering the actual questions I have? And then I dive deep into it, admitting I know nothing. And that's what it is. By deep, you know what I mean. 2 articles deep. That's about as deep as we get. This is our first week. Exciting, having a Patreon over on patreon.com/regular guy news. We had a big week, got a nice amount of patrons this week. And you're not just a patron, you're a producer of the regular guy news. And one of the articles I'll be reading today was submitted to us by a patron. You guys, in our quest to find actual answers that we need from good sources, and by the way, I'll admit right here on this pod, it's going to be a constant problem. I don't know what's a good source anymore. I don't know what's a good source. I use my gut. I'm trying my best. Do never use this podcast to make real decisions about your life, okay? But use it to jog. I don't know. If I'm in here right now while you're jogging, then that's right. Be entertained. We're having fun. We're having fun and trying to learn, and we're doing our best. Anyway, you could join our Discord server for only $2 a month, and you can submit articles to the show. I comb through it every week and interact with you guys, and it's going to be a great time. Patreon.com/regular guy news. Great. Got a lot to talk about today, maybe arguably too much to talk about. But before we do it, let's go out to the field, see if we have our only RGN correspondent. Let's see if Erin Fierdy's on the field. Let's see if we connect with her via satellite. Erin.
Dan. Hello.
Oh, wow, we got her. Erin.
Hello, Dan.
Wow, unbelievable. I'm glad we got you, Erin. Where are you reporting from today?
Oh, Dan, I'm glad to be here today. I am reporting to you live from Albany, New York.
Albany, New York.
The
Wow.
state capital, yes.
Okay, great. That's exactly where I told you to go, I guess.
Took an Amtrak train here late last night.
All the way from L.A.?
Yeah, I was coming from L.A.
Wow. You know, fun fact about the trains, they got, I mean, we've been saying this for like 10 years, but like, this is something I never understand about this country, is other countries have way faster trains. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're way behind on train technology, believe you me.
Yeah, I mean,
Bullet trains, we don't have any.
We don't have any of those trains. As a matter of fact, when I was in Japan, because I'm a well-traveled man, many don't know this about me.
Very cultured.
Yes, I was in Japan,
Like
feeding
yogurt.
the monkeys and and getting in touch with my, I don't know,
Feminine
culture
side?
self. No, honestly, what I was doing there was just going to like the places where people told me to go. Like
yeah.
you know, whenever I go like to another place, I'm like, where do you go? Where are you supposed to go?
Right.
You know what? I think my new thing is I'm going to do the what's called this. I'm going to go to a place and I'm going to treat it like it's my second time I've been there. I feel like that's the move. So this way I don't have to go see like the Liberty Bell. Because imagine you came to visit the United States and you got an itinerary and they're like, yo, you got to see the Liberty Bell. Like, yo, Erin, you're from Philly. You don't got to see the Liberty
Philly.
Bell.
I'm not from there.
Erin's from Philly. She's
clear.
from Michigan. She's from Michigan, but she was a Philly fanatic for a bit.
Definitely.
That was her job. She was the Philly fanatic, which I thought was odd.
Oh my God. I hugged him once. It was great.
But Erin, do you need to see the Liberty Bell?
No, you don't need to see it. I mean, you can see it. You can just drive by it on your way to somewhere else, too, and get a nice look. It's the same thing.
Do you even need to see the Rocky statue? Just the statue?
No. I mean,
It's
if
not
you're
that good of a
popping in,
statue.
you know what?
It's not
I'll
a
say
great
this.
statue.
I'll say this. If you're going to pop into the art museum, why not see the Rocky statue?
Absolutely.
It's
And the
there.
steps are fun to run. That's a great...
Yeah,
Running the
yeah.
Rocky steps is a good time. That's a good time.
Yeah.
I actually did that for Improv Everywhere. You can watch a video of me on their YouTube page where I ran with like 200 kids or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they made me run through Philadelphia and see if I could like accumulate people. You know what I mean? Like that
That's
was like the
rad.
idea, and
Yeah.
so I ran down like Market Street and like I don't know whatever.
All the
it's
way down
called.
the parkway.
Yeah, I did all that, and then they like, and then like a bunch of people would. They're like, oh fuck, it's Rocky. They're trying to see if people would follow me, and they did, which was very scary, frankly.
Wow.
Why was I talking about that? Oh, second tripping.
Yeah, second trip.
It's my new concept of second tripping. So it's like you don't need to see that shit. I mean,
No.
you don't need to see it. Like everyone, no one knows. You don't like you get an itinerary. You go somewhere. You get an itinerary. By the way, this is a news podcast, but you don't get an itinerary, and like someone gives it to you, and then they're like, must go to this place.
Right.
Then you go, and you're like, what? Like what?
Yeah.
What was this
Well, I
person-
mean, like,
this place. They love this place.
LA is a great example of that because it's like nowhere that you think you should go.
LA is we always talk about that. Like LA is the one vacation destination that I feel terrible that people actually get tricked into it. It's wrong. Like LA should warn people like, yo, it's not what you think it is. Like it's chill and cool in some ways, but it's not what you're thinking it is.
Yeah, don't come here thinking. Don't go there. Don't go to LA thinking that you're going to like Gettysburg, where you're gonna see all the sights and do all the things. There's none of that.
Or like it's New York. Like I feel like when I was a kid, it was always like New York and LA. Like those are the cities of like those are like the two big ones. They're like it's like man, I could live in either of those two. And you're like putting LA on the same level as New York City is like insane in terms of like the spectacle of it.
The spectacle.
Now don't get me wrong. Like the spectacle of LA is the weather.
Yeah.
The dopest thing about LA is like the weather here.
The
But it's like coming to visit here, or you're really gonna like, you'll enjoy the weather for a little bit. But the beauty of LA is living year round in this weather. That's the beauty of LA.
Yes, that's 100% the beauty of LA. I mean, you have to come here with the right expectations. Like if you're like, I'm gonna go there, have a chill time, maybe smoke some weed, eat some tacos, cruise around, that's cool, but don't think you're gonna come see the sights. This isn't that kind of vacation for you.
LA, if you're the kind of person like and you're a sightseeing person, the main sight you'll see here is people where you go, how does that person support themselves?
Right.
How does that person support themselves? Well, that's a lot of tattoos on a face.
Yeah.
Like,
on the other hand, though, you do see a lot of like hot people. So if that's the one good thing we do have, like there's just like hot people everywhere, and like speaking as one of them, and
obviously.
it's like, you feel
how's
like
it been going in Albany? You getting mauled over there in Albany?
Oh my God, it's insane.
You're in Albany 15, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's not. I have family in Albany. That's not nice. Anyway,
I mean, look, it's beautiful here.
That is really nice. That looks like that's Cuomo. That's Cuomo Castle. You're about.
I'm right in front of Cuomo Castle, the state capitol. Yeah. Cuomo Castle.
Yeah. What's our travel agent's name again? Janice?
Oh, Phyllis?
Phyllis, I'm sorry. Phyllis. She got you there, no problem. She got you the Amtrak?
Well, yeah, she got me the Amtrak train. It was a long journey, but I was medicated for most of it, so it was fine.
Yeah. Well, they have a bullet train in Japan. This is what I was talking about before I took
I love circling back.
I'm Donnie Tangent, but I always come back, which is part of my
like a boomerang.
It's one of my gifts. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I took there's a bullet train you could take from Japan, from Tokyo to Kyoto.
Yeah.
Right? And it's 2 hours long. Like that's it.
Right.
Now they also have like the normal speed trains, and they're not even like the normal speed trains are not even like, oh, the local versus the express.
Right.
It's like, no, here's one that fucking is Superman, and then here's one that goes to regular speed, and it's like 3.5 hours.
Right.
But they shave like almost half the time off by just zooming. And you're like, the US, the stuff that we're caught up in, you're like, yo, and this is not me making this up. I saw this from what's his name, Tom Friedman on I saw him on Chris Cuomo show actually. And but it did dawn on me. You're like, we always talk infrastructure. Does that ever happen? I know that's part of Biden's new bill, and that's one of the only areas that there is room for bipartisan agreement is in infrastructure. But
infrastructure.
do you ever hear like we're building the next big thing in America?
No, we haven't had that in a while. Just a lot of like freeway repairs, you know?
Yeah, like all we do in this country is like just talk about how great it is and it's the best, and this concept of freedom, which like I'm not even saying we're not free, but it's like we speak more about the concept than actual like action items, you know?
Right. Yeah,
And
we're
then-
a little behind
Yeah, it's
on like the
you
tech
feel
stuff.
it.
Like I think that there's been talk for like decades about a bullet train from LA to Vegas, right? That's just never
like 20 minutes or something.
I would kill. That would be amazing. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
It's as you get on, they have a contraption where you can snort coke the whole way, like you're done with your line by the time.
Yeah, the train goes so fast, the coke goes just like right into your nose. It's awesome.
Yo, the amount of money there is in getting an LA just
Vegas,
train to
bullet
Vegas,
train.
that's like boom, boom. It would fix whatever this pandemic's doing to Vegas.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Just between our two cities, it would just be like boom, right through the roof.
That's the other thing about LA. Like, it's
I
so
would love
dope. It's like a 4-hour drive to Vegas. What people don't know about living in LA is that driving home is always the problem, because you go on like a Thursday or whatever. They're like, it's fine. Getting there is always kind of fine because people like stagger in the day they go or whatever.
When you're like hype because you're like ready to go. You've seen Swingers. You know how it goes.
Swingers. Yeah. But then when you drive back, it's like 10 hours traffic.
Fucking sad.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what's so fucking crazy about LA, where you're like, there's so many things where you're like, wait, this is like LA, like LA, and you're like, you mean this is like the place where like those like fucking mage people live, and you're like, they're also sitting in this traffic, and it's like the LA facade crumbles so quick. When you're here and you just start seeing like a celeb shop in like the same shitty grocery store as you, and they don't look as good as you think, and then you're like, whoa, this place is like, it's funny because like the Chinese theater, right? Like, let's get about that. You're like, you see that your whole life, you're like, oh, whoa, that's gonna be kind of cool.
You go on like the Great Movie Ride at Disney World, and you're like, oh my god, if only I could see the real one.
But the beauty about Hollywood is there's no reason to visit it, because you see it every minute and every day. Like, the beauty of Hollywood is the imagery and the trickery of it. Like, you get to experience that. So people don't
like
realize
myth.
that.
Yeah.
But I do think we see, like, sometimes Jamie and I we'll see like a family walking the street, and you see they're like Midwest, you know what I mean? Like the shorts and the high socks and the
camera.
For
some reason they have like a digital camera.
Yeah, they always have a boy and a girl as their kids. Always kind of creepy. One boy, one girl. You're like, hey, that's sus. I don't think you get to choose that. But anyway, and then you see them, and then we just are like, oh man, these people paid thousands of dollars and used their like PTO to come and like walk around by this Ripley's, believe it or not, and, like homeless people shitting like all in your face. It's terrible.
Bobo Elmo trying to get you to take a picture with him. Come on.
Oh man.
Folks, LA is wonderful, but don't come here thinking it's like a vacation. Like, go to Hershey Park or something like that if you want to have fun.
Go to Hershey Park, PA. Head to everything's in PA. Anyway, so Aaron, I'll give a quick update before, and then we're gonna throw it right to your special report because this is important. Okay.
Locked and loaded.
And you're ready to rock. I hear.
I was born ready.
And you went there, and it's important for you to be there, right? For this to be in Albany for the story.
It's really, really important to be on site. You're going to
show us why it's important that you're there, right?
It's so important, Dan.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So I'm in the middle of I help out a tax company, let's say. Okay. I'll keep it vague. I help out some tax during tax season because I have my CPA license, which I just got re-authenticated. While I have an airing commercial.
Well, let's not bury the lead here, Dan.
While I have an airing commercial, let me just say what I'm saying is, I'm saying that I got irons in the fires, daddies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daddies. But when I work on taxes, the thing that I think about this year that's really interesting is you're like, unemployment is fully taxable. Like, so I'm hearing that Biden is going to be talking about that, but that's not. People are already filing the tax returns. So you're like, what's the? You think about the bullshit of like, tell me the regular guy element of this. Okay. You pay tax money to the government. out of your taxes for them to, I don't know, what do we say? Make society work for you?
Infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure, crumbling infrastructure. Like, so their job is to like keep society nice, give you that American lifestyle or whatever. Okay, you pay them.
Yeah.
And then we have a pandemic hit where you can't pay into the system anymore. So then you're essentially saying to them, hey, can I get some of that money back because the system's broken due to an outside force? And this is part of why I pay for you. And then they give it to you and then tell you this money's taxable, but it's your money that you already taxed. It makes zero sense.
And then
unemployment income should never, ever be taxable.
Doesn't make any sense. And how are people who are unemployed supposed to pay taxes on the unemployment?
Well, you're supposed to like withhold, but like who's gonna? That's the thing I don't like. I don't like when it's like if somebody's taking unemployment, don't have them withhold taxes. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, and look,
the money's coming from the tax man.
Oh yeah, you're like, no, it's already your post-tax dollars you're paying back. I guess. Look, now you could argue someone didn't pay enough into unemployment, but they still get the benefits and blah blah blah. But like, whatever. That's the price we all pay for a civilized society, right? That's the quote about taxes, right? It's like the tax. That's a famous quote about taxes. It's the price you
gotta
pay for a civilized
the troll
society,
toll to
right?
get into this boy's soul. That's the quote, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's stupid is as stupid does, I believe.
That's the tax quote.
But that's my tax thought of the week. And maybe I'll give
taxes
through tax season. Yeah, I know.
Taxes are my enemy.
Well, I like saving people's taxes. That's what I like working about in taxes. Like, I got a CPA license because I'm essentially a Jew from Long Island, where you're kind of born with a CPA license.
Yeah.
Listen, I could say that, all right, folks?
Birth certificate, and you get a CPA license.
You know the reason I'm a CPA? Did I ever tell you this? It's like, it's just I grew up in my house and my parents were like doctor, lawyer, CPA, and CPA is just the easiest one to get. You know what I mean? Like it just requires, and actually to be honest, I'm not sure if it's even that much easier anymore.
Yeah.
Because it requires as much schooling as law school now in most states. And then I don't know. I mean, you could argue law school is probably like a little harder. Being a doctor, it takes a lot more time.
Yeah, probably.
But lawyer and CPA are like pretty close, I would say. Okay. Depending on your skill set, you could argue that a CPA would be harder for someone to get.
Well, yeah, one is like a language thing, one is like a numbers thing. So.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just was like, oh man, like I want to be a comedian, but I would like to get this because my parents like paid for me to go to college and I just partied through it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, they basically gave me the 4 best years of my life, like just for being 18. I mean, right? When you think about it. So you're like, the least I could do is have them think they didn't waste their money, even though they
and get
did.
this fucking CPA license.
But ultimately, the thing is that, so I'm a CPA not because of out of like some deep passion of why I got that, but it's interesting. All these years later, I have it, and then like the industry tanked, like the film industry and television industry, and then I got scared, so I activated my CPA license in California, and I was like, all right, I don't know, like I don't know what's gonna happen with the world. Maybe this is what I do, so I'm doing it, and I like to bring 100% to everything I do. Like I try to not. I don't. You don't
halvesies.
No, like that.
You don't do halvesies.
But I really do, like, people are so confused by taxes that it feels so good to like help somebody and be like, hey, here's what you need to do. Relax. Like just saying like, relax, I got you, to someone who's frustrated with their taxes. That's how I know I'm a good person. That moment, because
you're like Captain America, CPA America.
Yeah. Listen, I not like I'm patting myself on the back. It's like, yo, it's nice to have a moment where you go, all right, good, I'm not a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aaron, do you have any moments where you go, I'm not a bad person, or are you so confident that you're not a bad person?
I'm pretty confident. Yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm pretty confident. You heard it here first, folks. I'm a good person.
All right. Anyways, we'll get back into this. But speaking of being a good person, Let's head into our special report, Aaron. I'm not even going to tee
Okay.
it up. I'm interested. I got to know everything we need to know about this. Aaron, are you ready to special report us?
I'm so ready to
All right, let's head
special
on over to
report.
the special report.
Okay.
We got to get someone going special report at the end of that.
Okay. We'll
Maybe
find
I'll get
someone.
I'll get someone. I don't know if we can find anybody. All right, Aaron, what's going on over there in this special
All
report?
right, Dan. I am bringing you a special report tonight,
Yeah.
live from Albany, New York. Name of this special report: Big Cuomo Problems.
Wow.
So, our friend Andrew Cuomo, brother of Chris Cuomo,
Who I've been
Who-
watching has yet to mention this on his show. From what I've seen, I haven't seen every hour, but has
Yeah.
yet to mention this on his show.
yeah. Well, I kind of don't blame him because in putting this special report together, this is a real cluster. So,
Yeah.
kind of confusing. So we're going to break it down RGN style.
Go,
So
go.
Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York is facing calls for investigation and limitations on his executive powers after a top aide, his
Right.
secretary, revealed in a private meeting on Wednesday that his administration delayed the release of data on COVID-19 deaths in long-term care facility residents. And this was due to concerns about a potential federal investigation by Trump at a time when Trump was personally threatening Cuomo. So if we rewind back to August, lawmakers had sent letters to the Cuomo administration requesting a revised total of long-term healthcare facility deaths due to COVID-19. These requests went unanswered because at the same time,
Wait, who
couple
did
weeks-
that? I'm sorry. So you repeat that again? I missed the sentence.
state lawmakers had
Okay.
sent letters to Cuomo saying, hey, we need the revised numbers so we can tell our constituents or whatever the total of
And when was
deaths. This was in early August, this
Okay.
part.
Right.
So at the same time, just a couple weeks later in August, while they're putting all this together, the DOJ sent out letters to 4 Democratic governors, New York, New Jersey, PA, and Michigan, announcing a preliminary inquiry into their handling of the virus in nursing homes at Trump's direction, because those states were being targeted by him at that time. So they have these 2 requests coming at them. And
Right.
one was from this this guy who was called a political hack by a Cuomo aide they were going after the governors in these states, which we all know Trump was doing because he wanted to make them look bad at the time.
Right.
So DOJ requested this info. So this brings us back to this private meeting on Wednesday when Secretary to Governor Cuomo, Melissa DeRosa, stated that New York froze because they weren't sure what to give to DOJ because they were worried that it would be used against them in this witch hunt by the Trump administration, which then caused a delay in the release of their COVID-19 death data to the legislature because they were dealing with the DOJ first. So in January, the numbers came out from the state attorney general, and this report found that the New York State Department of Health undercounted COVID-19 deaths among residents in nursing homes by 50%. Sounds bad, right?
Yes.
However,
Yeah,
this
it sounds really
disparity
bad.
sounds really bad.
Yeah.
But this disparity is the result of deaths of residents who have been transferred. It was the result of they didn't count the number of people who lived in those places who died after being transferred to a hospital, right? So that was why the count was less, because they were only showing people who died in
the
a
actual
facility.
facility.
Yes, not people
And
who
didn't
left.
Cuomo, you're
I'm
probably going
not
to get
done.
to this.
I'm not
okay,
done.
go, because you're
Let
going to
me
go back.
finish,
I
okay?
know. Okay.
So now the total has been revised to show the total number of deaths of residents in long-term care and assisted living facilities that occurred in the facility or in the hospital. Now, the Department of Health maintains that it previously always only reported the deaths of those who died inside the facility.
Okay.
Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker insisted that the state never underreported fatalities and has always been transparent about how they counted deaths based on where patients died. Zucker stated the word undercount implies there are more total fatalities that have been than what has been reported, and that is factually wrong. So this whole thing is being called a cover-up. Lawmakers are calling for the repeal of Cuomo's expanded executive powers, which are due to expire on April 30th anyway. Cuomo stated on Monday that there's no connection between his executive powers and the COVID-19 data, because one's a public health issue and one is protecting the public. So Cuomo said that he took responsibility for the lack of transparency, denied allegations that his administration orchestrated a cover-up surrounding the deaths in nursing homes from coronavirus. And Politico also spoke with an anonymous source within the administration who seems confident that the scandal has no substance beyond bad optics. Cuomo stated on Monday that there's nothing to investigate.
Wow, Erin, great report. I'm in awe. I needed a moment of silence after that.
Yes.
You gave me everything that I needed there.
Yeah,
I do
and
have
let me
one
tell you,
question.
this is complicated. It's complicated. It took a while for me to RG on this one because it's confusing.
It's above our pay grade.
There's a lot of moving parts. Yeah, I read actually 3 articles about this.
We keep going 3 articles deep, which we might have to at some point amend the RGN Constitution.
Well, listen, it's a special report. If it was just a report, that'd be 2, but it's 3.
We are working towards an RGN Constitution, by the way. That's an announcement and something I just made up right now and just announced right now. And that might be the amount of deeps, how many articles deep we go.
Right.
Didn't Cuomo get in trouble for putting them back in the nursing homes? Isn't that part of the issue?
Yeah, that was part of the issue. I didn't see a whole lot. New York is one of the states where they were putting these people back into the nursing homes after having been treated. But I don't think that was part of it. And I think that's why these lawmakers wanted to know what the numbers were. But that didn't have any bearing on this issue of the reporting.
Okay. That was just okay. So okay. Look, not time to RGN it, Erin. Great job.
Yeah.
So the Fox News machine and like whatever, Bright Media was trying to take down Cuomo when he was doing outshining Trump, right? Yeah. Early on in the pandemic, by that issue of him putting COVID patients back in the nursing home. But that is a separate issue entirely than what's going on right now. Because my thought was like, and this is the danger of the misinformation here. This is not this, it's miss. Is like, I was like, oh, wow, man. I'm like, the right was really yelling about this. And I kind of was like, hey, relax, guys. Like, this guy's killing it. And then I was like, wow, I have such a blind spot. Which I'm trying to not have these blind spots to like being a left-leaning person or whatever. But you're saying this isn't even related to that. But this does seem sus, right?
The thing that, it is related in the bigger picture, obviously, because like if they're putting these people back into the nursing homes, I think they want to know how many people are dying in nursing homes.
Right.
But the problem here is what they're calling the cover up, which is they're trying to
but what are we talking about?
Like less people were dying.
Yeah, were they trying to so what we need, I guess the question is, when we whittle this all down, the question is, were they actively trying to hide those deaths, or this is actually the metric they use, which is like, hey, they died in the nursing home. So like we're talking about who died in the but he's saying cuz are we they should all be reported, obviously.
Well, yeah,
what's the difference?
Right. Every death was reported. And the way Cuomo said it, he basically said, like, they died in a nursing home, they died in a hospital because they went there from the nursing home. Either way, they're dead. It's like there's no one's hiding how many people died, but it was like the issue was where they're being counted. That resulted in this disparity that made it look like New York was shorting their nursing home deaths by 50%, when in actuality, that other 50% was looped into, the general pool of deaths. And also worth noting, Dan, that this study, the the district state attorney general study was only a sample of 10% of the facilities in the state. So they surveyed 62 facilities in New York, and that's where they found this disparity. Yeah.
So, Erin, this is complicated. You said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue you did not say too much. You said exactly the right amount. Exactly the same amount. The right amount. What do you think? Try to put your bias to the side. We know you're a bleeding heart.
Yeah. And I'm a Cuomo fan.
And you're a Cuomo fan.
I love men with
admit,
nipple
like
rings.
Andrew Cuomo. Does Andrew Cuomo have a nipple ring?
Yeah, he has 2 nipple rings.
Is that true? Or were you thinking of Braun Strowman?
No.
Wait.
Well,
are
people
you
are saying that he has
me?
nipple rings. Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo? It's like a 60-something-year-old guy has nipple rings?
Yeah. Well, that's what people are saying. People are talking about
All right,
nipples.
I got to tell you this right now. If Andrew Cuomo has nipple rings, he needs to be removed from office immediately. I mean, that you cannot. That you're out, bro. I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's too weird.
Well, you know what, Dan? I'm actually doing some quick on-the-scene investigating right now.
His nips were hard one time, and then they thought he had.
Well, it looks like he has straight up like pierced nipples, and some people are saying maybe he has hairy nipples or whatever. Maybe he's wearing nipple tape to avoid chafing.
I don't know how this isn't the first thing you brought up, but fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not that. You know what? The jury's still out.
Okay, fine. So he doesn't have nipple rings. Here's the real situation here. So I heard all this. Erin, in your estimation, did he? I'm not asking you how bad it is.
Okay.
But is this a problem? Did he fuck up? Do you think?
Did Cuomo fuck up? Maybe a little bit. I don't think it's as bad because I believe that, you know, this is like a great opportunity to spin it like, oh, they're trying to short the numbers and, you know, It's a fraud. It's a cover up of how many people actually died. But knowing that this disparity is because of the way, like some logistical thing, like the way things were counted, like if you were in a facility and then you moved to a hospital and you died there, you're not counted toward the facility deaths. And it's like, okay, fine. So, you know, it seems like a logistical.
Here's how I see it. If we're going to RGN it, take a step back and go, what do people actually care about? What do they actually think?
Mm-hmm.
This is all I think about is the bigger problem here, which is like, yeah, we can give Andrew Cuomo shit for this, but ultimately there's a big false equivalency between the right and the left's behavior when it comes to COVID. I mean, you have one party with the direct denial of science.
Yeah.
And just kicking the legs out from underneath infectious disease people. Like that's all. Like these people's job is this, and so yeah, Cuomo fucked up. Should he resign? I don't know, whatever. But it's the same thing. Look at the two guys who fucked up. Who had you had Cuomo and you had Newsom, and the stuff they did. Honestly, it's bad. But like think about it like this. Like it's bad, but like it doesn't really change that much. I mean, the numbers, because what we're talking about is the overall infection rate. And if you look at the infection rate in New York, you cannot deny that New York City went from the epicenter of the virus to, I don't know, at one point in the summer, they were like, what, 1%? I mean, there were my friends who live in New York City, it was like Paris out there. They were just eating in the tables, music outside. Right. New York City summer was like, now I'm trying to figure out how to go to New York, and that we'll get into that in the next article. I'm trying to figure out how to go there, and I'm too nervous. I'm too nervous about it. Even with people I know and I love who are vaccinated, I'm still like, and we'll get into that in the next thing. I won't conflate the two issues, but I mean, the bigger picture of the thing is like what Trump's behavior and some of these. Let's take Trump out of the equation for a second, and equate it governor to governor. Some of the governor's behaviors was fucking outrageous. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
so they're holding huge super spreader events directly responsible for the death, not having mask mandates. Like you remember when the governor of Georgia came out, like 6 months into the pandemic, to say masks work. He's like, I didn't know they don't work.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
what are we actually talking about? Yeah, like unfortunately, Cuomo and guys like Newsom, they have wiggle room to fuck up because the other party is fucking up so much worse in terms of the virus. So it's like, it's the stuff that Newsom and Cuomo are messing up on, in my mind, is like a luxury to get upset about.
Well, yeah, I know,
Right?
right? And then it's like, there's just no attention, like the Georgia thing. Like, where's Fox News on that guy? Like, I don't hear a whole lot. Like, I'm assuming they're not reporting on it. It's
anything. You know, like, but yeah, so like, it's hard to even like it again, even just mentioning them like a news source. I mean, the stuff I mean, stuff I've seen on Fox News lately is just wild. It's like wild. But anyway, my point is, so let's take it to the other side. We just had this impeachment trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people that not people I know personally, but people on my Facebook feed or whatever are like, are acting like, like we see Trump. There's no consequences for him. The Republican Party doesn't hold him, like 7 senators out of 50.
I know.
Hold him 7. That's it. Hold him accountable. Like, that's it. So you're kind of like, if I spoke to someone in my family about this Cuomo thing and I was like, oh, it's bad. And they're like, I don't give a fuck about that. Look what these other guys are doing. They're like, I'll turn a blind eye to that. And that's terrible. That's the danger of like not holding anyone accountable, because then the other aspect, and that's, I don't know, the other side of the equation is going to be like, hey, why would we hold ourselves to this standard? And then you get the situation of Al Franken, who stepped down essentially for no reason when you compare everything going on. Like right now, truly taking the moral high ground gets you nowhere in modern politics. You'd have to be silly. Like, you'd have to be a lunatic to think that doing the right thing is good for you. That's the perception, and it's the actual truth. So, I mean, like, I don't see how anyone's going to care about this Cuomo thing. And maybe, I'm not even saying they shouldn't care, but how could you when it's like you're getting beat up with a baseball bat and then you use an illegal eye poke? And they're like, and then someone's like, you're not allowed to poke eyes. And you're like, you're hitting me with a baseball bat. Now the rules matter. Now we're like, you can't eye poke, and you're like, you have a foreign object. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's when and that's why the impeachment of Trump was such an important moment, and people were like, what are we doing? And blah, blah. And you're like, well, if we don't hold him accountable, where are we? Like, where do we stand? That's what shakes me. Like, that's what makes me, you're like, wow, you can do that and get away with that. Get away
with it,
you can, I mean, the case that, like, Jamie Raskin, I mean, he's standing up there talking about how his kid committing suicide the day before, which I guess I understand is kind of, like, irrelevant in the terms of the case. It had nothing to do with Trump. It is 100% irrelevant. It's a sad thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I had my daughter and my son-in-law in here, and then you see the fallout of this thing, and Trump egging them on, and you look at the timeline for Trump, it's not good. It's like look at it. Everything's a snowball, like, so. Anyway, I'm trying not to litigate that and get into that again. But look, if you don't think Trump's responsible for that, or all we're saying, it's not even criminal charges. You're saying he should be impeached for staging a coup against his own government, perpetuated on a proven lie. Like, that's the thing I think everybody forgets. You get caught up in, like, you're like, is he responsible? The argument is a distraction of, like, is he responsible for the actions of people who, like, just go and do their own thing at the Capitol? He said they'll go peacefully protest like that. But take a step back. The whole foundation is built on a lie that is the most powerful man in the world is perpetuating. Like, that's a dereliction of duty if I've ever seen one. And so 43 senators voted to let him off for that. You're like, where do we stand now? Like, I don't know where are we at now. I don't that's scary to me. So when we were talking about Cuomo, and I was glad we started off the pod with it, because I'm like, I'm not trying to have a thing where this is RGN. Like, I'm just trying to hear the information. This is a huge news story, people talking about it. But like, when Marjorie Taylor Greene is okay and Trump's okay and the Republican Party, you got people with level heads. Like, Mitch McConnell's a level-headed guy. He's a manipulative, like, turkey snake. But
turkey snake.
Yeah, the guy's a turkey snake. He's a snake in the grass. He's a politician. He's in it for himself. He's on some kind of probably some kind of sociopathic scale, or who knows, closeted KKK. I don't know what he is. Who knows what the guy. I don't know what's behind that guy's skull or whatever, But whatever else is going on with these other with this other behavior and semi-rational, just classic 1.0 Republicans or whatever we're calling them, defending because they're scared of Trump. I mean, do we stand for anything? I mean, Bill Maher says it. I always bring up Bill Maher, and I got shit from one of our patrons, and I encourage you to give me shit. It's fine for bringing him up, but he, it doesn't mean it's not like Bill Maher's a dumb guy. He makes some good points, but he does make this point, which I've always said, is like, do you really need that job so bad? It's like, what is so appealing about this job that why does no one speaks the truth until they're like gonna step down or they're not running for re-election,
Is it like they just love?
It's like a glorified librarian, right?
Yeah.
Which is not a bad job. I love librarians.
It's not even like it gets you like fame and fortune or anything fun like that. Like, I don't know.
I think it does give you money if you get high enough. Like, someone
if you get high
Paul
enough,
Ryan. Do we know what Paul Ryan's salary is right now, or whatever he's doing?
Paul Ryan's he retired at like the age of 40 something, right? So
but now he's like in private industry. Is he retired? Fully retired?
Yeah. Well, he retired a couple years ago.
I know he's not the Speaker of the House anymore, but I'm saying, is he? I know he's not a politician, but is he in? He has a job, right?
Let's see. Well,
at least he's like a speaker or something.
Well, Dan,
right?
You'll be really thrilled to hear this. In March 2019, Ryan joined the board of directors at Fox Corporation, the owner of Fox News and the Fox Broadcast Network. He's on the faculty at Notre Dame.
So Fox pays him probably a salary like, a big salary. So it's a nice resume. Look, I was in the Senate. Your salary, it's a nice on your resume. You'll work at that. They'll hire you at that coffee shop, no problem.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. Let's move on to my next topic because they're kind of interrelated.
Okie
This came from a patron, not a patron, an RGN producer patron.
Oh, one of our producers.
Yes, this is from Kristen Lalonde. Okay,
Kristen,
great patron, I believe, of both pods, Cow and RGN, the double whammy, a Grand Slam winner. But great. I believe Kristen is a librarian as well, and wrote an article and posted something, be like, where do you post good information? And she posted this article. By the way, if you've posted other stuff, I still have it open. Some of the stuff I need to look at the source a little deeper. That was some of the stuff you guys gave me. I'm like, all right, I don't know what that is. Let me look a little deeper into what else is on the website. But I have some of the stuff queued up. But this article was very related to the topic of the day, which is an article sent to us by the advisory board, and it's posted on a website called advisory.com. And it's, if you've already had COVID-19, can you contract a new variant? Here's what experts say.
Interesting.
And this is the shit I want to hear. Because if you watch cable news, it's just Sanjay Gupta comes on every time and just says, like, wear a mask. Should we double mask? Wear a mask. You're like, I'm already wearing the mask. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know. Can I get reinfected? Even just guess. Tell me something. No, but here's this article from one of our producers. It says, it's short and all of it's pretty good. I'm gonna skip over some parts of it, but Okay, so this is if you've already had COVID-19, which is me. I've had COVID-19, and I'm scared about new variants. Can I be around people who are vaccinated? I don't know. Although reports of reinfection from the coronavirus have been rare, public experts worry that new variants of the virus may be less susceptible to natural immunity, meaning people who've recovered from coronavirus may be at risk by a new of reinfection by a new variant. So again, they're admitting it's rare. So reported cases of reinfection from the coronavirus can occur, but they've been rare so far, according to WHO. So the head of the WHO skipped their name. So continuing research suggests immunity to the novel virus may last for at least 6 months. In some people, it may wane after a few months, but we do get a good indication that natural infection immune response is lasting for some months. Okay, so that means I might be immune right now.
Okay.
I don't know. I had it starting in December. We're about a year into this pandemic, so we still have a lot to learn. Got it. It's not clear how many people have been reinfected with the coronavirus. So that's the thing. Like, you see people that was like, this woman who works with WB was like, I got coronavirus again. And she was like, it was like 3 weeks later. It's like, can you be infected again 3 weeks later and show signs? Or was it just the virus coming back? You know?
Yeah, it had never left. Or maybe like there was a false negative in there somewhere.
Right. So because they're saying that, according to their source, fewer than 50 substantiated cases of reinfection worldwide have been reported, including 5 in the U.S. So it's like, if we're at 5 substantiated reports, but one of them's a WWE correspondent,
right?
That seems odd, right?
What are the odds?
Yeah, like, I don't know. So, yeah, so they're saying that the reason we don't know is because there's a limited number of U.S. labs that retain coronavirus testing samples or perform genetic sequencing. That being said, we're not even putting really any effort into this right now. And yeah, like many of the states aren't even tracking or investigating suspected cases of reinfection. So there could be far more potential cases of reinfection than we previously anticipated, so they don't even know. I predict that we are missing cases of reinfection. They're very difficult to ascertain, so we need a specialized team to do this work or a core lab. Okay, so, I mean, okay. Variants. So, here's where we start getting to variants, which is my question. Because, look, okay, RGN it. I'm going to RGN it. Regular Guy News it.
Yep.
I think you don't have to worry about getting the same strain again. I don't know. But
that's RGNing it.
Like, if you got the other strain and you're all right, like, I don't think you have to worry that much. I think you might get, like, all right, as someone who I can only do I can only say and do what I do,
Right.
And what I do is this. No, I want to tell you for no reason. It's just so much Cuomo talk. But, like, I'm not worried about getting the same strain of coronavirus. I'm not. It hit me, but I'm not worried about it. But I am like, these other variants could fuck me up. I think that's where I'm at. Yeah. So but it's not like I can run from other variants or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So, you just have to run at the same speed you're running from the regular old COVID variant.
Okay. So, I'm gonna skip this part. So here we go. Some experts believe that new coronavirus variants may be emerging in response to increased human immunity to earlier variants of the virus. For instance, research suggests that the new coronavirus variants discovered in Brazil, South Africa, and the UK, listen to our episode, what was that, last week? Or 2 weeks ago with the variants, have developed. We go into all the details that we had at the time about these variants, and we'll probably do follow-up episodes as we get more information. Have developed mutations that appear to make them more transmissible than earlier variants of the virus, as well as susceptible to immunity acquired from earlier variants and current COVID vaccines. Wow. They're saying that the Brazil and South African mutation, this epidemiologist. I know what that is, but I need to pronounce it 3 times to get it. Okay, I'm from Long Island. We don't pronounce stuff right. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're saying the Brazil South African variant might allow reinfection, is what they're finding. That's might.
Mm-hmm.
2% of the study's participants who had the South African virus and recovered became infected again. Okay. Why is this? What this basically tells us, unfortunately, is that past infection with earlier variant of the virus does not protect. So, essentially, here, I mean, that's all the information we honestly need. What does this mean? Ultimately, experts say the threat of coronavirus reinfection means that people, including those who have recovered from a previous coronavirus infection, should continue practicing measures intended to curb the national coronavirus spread, such as wearing face masks. Previous infection does not give you a free pass. A substantial risk of infection remains. Yeah. Jesus. Okay, here's Fauci. Here's a Fauci quote. An incentive to do what we've been saying all along. Should vaccinate as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. And okay. So look, okay, that's all you need to hear. So basically, look, I summed this up for you, and I pulled out some. I tried to pull out some of the less RGN-y fluff. Mm-hmm. This thing's gonna keep mutating, and we're gonna, the point is that if we can vaccinate enough people where it stops the spread, which we don't know, then it'll stop mutating at some point. But Aaron, what I'm not hearing from this, and when I'm not seeing anything that makes me comfortable is, can I be around my vaccinated parents yet? I mean, even when it kicks in, the answer seems to be no, unless I'm joining their pod full time and not taking any risks. And I'm taking enough risks where I don't want to be around my parents. Right. So fuck, that's not good. And then here's the other part. I watched Axios this week, Aaron. And I watched it's really good. And I also watched The Circus, which is horrifically bad.
The Circus, yeah.
Yo, Aaron, I almost sent you a video of I'll bring it for next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna play the audio of part of The Circus.
Ooh, I can't wait.
It's one of them being like, yo, I'm eating ramen noodles right now. Is it snowing over there? It's fine. I mean, I just don't like the show. It's not my. I do like it. I'm lying. I do like it, but I don't like it because it's good. I like it because it's background. It's good background show. It's It's like a mumblecore news show or whatever. But anyway, okay. I watched this pandemic. This scientist. No, I'm sorry. This wasn't on Axios. I did watch Axios. I watched this on John Oliver.
I didn't watch the new one.
Yeah. Which
he's back, baby.
Yeah, John Oliver's back. I watched it, and I don't get the format of that show. I don't like. It's like he just says something and goes like, "That's like this, that's like this," and you're like, I don't need that. I guess people do want that. Every joke to be. John Oliver's a genius, hilarious. I like the show. Really I'll keep watching the show. I'm not knocking the show. I'm just a little bit like, is it always going to be like, here's something that happened. That's like if this happened. It's just a metaphor. Like, anyway, I guess people love him. People love him. You love hearing.
I mean, he's lovable.
He played this. Yeah, he's great. The scientist played. They showed this clip of the scientist, and it's just like talking about pandemics, and I'm like, you just watch it, and you're like, we are so fucked. Because we keep talking about coronavirus pandemic on here, and they're like, yo, do you understand that pandemics are like on the rise, and that like all the deforestation and knocking out natural habitats that are like they were showing this video of a bat, like you can visit bats, and they're like, the guy's just like, this is literally this bat. It's like in China, and you can go in and see bats, and it's lit like the Bat Cave, and you're like, it's fucking cool. It's like, I would go to that. They'd be like, look, I'm not even knocking the Chinese. I'm like, yo, that sounds like a cool thing. You're like, yo, you get to see bats, like you know what I mean? And you're like, the guy's like, this place, one person, a bat could fly, just like cough, and it ate something earlier that day, and start a worldwide pandemic. And they're like, this guy essentially was like, yo, coronavirus is not bad. The guy was like, I had fucking nightmares from this. I was like, what? I was like, and I
Oh
don't,
my
I didn't have
God,
actual
that's
nightmares.
so
But
scary.
you're like, and then they show this you got to watch this episode of John Oliver. Listen, I'm not knocking John Oliver, by the way. I'm just saying it's a little too much, too formulaic for me personally.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And also, like, I guess because I'm a comedian, I don't need things to be like so joke heavy. You know.
Right.
Because I'm like, all right, you're a news guy, but all these guys are like. They like blend it. Like I like what we do here more. Okay, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. We're better than John Oliver. But they show this guy like 5 years earlier explaining like how this pandemic's gonna go down. Like he's like the bats. He's like it's gonna be a bat, and it's
so scary.
It's
so scary.
It's so
I mean,
scary.
We've all seen Contagion, folks. Like,
yeah, but then you think
know how shit goes down.
So let's like just tie it all together for this episode, okay? Because we need to go, people. But ultimately, tie it all together. Getting worked up about this almost like logistical error by Cuomo, or maybe like a manipulation that like to like calm people down early on in the pandemic. Fine. Maybe even I won't even argue, an impeachable offense. I'm open to it being impeachable, but we have such bigger problems than that. That is such a fucking waste of our time.
Yeah.
We have to go, to be honest, you go, oh, China's a big problem. It's kind of like hilarious because it's like the Republicans and the Democrats, they like both get it wrong in like really unique ways. You're like, oh, like, okay, Trump's like, we got to go after China. I'm going to knock China. But he's like, oh, we got to beat them up on trade. He's like, no, like, we need to go after China for their environmental problems. Like, we need to go after China for, like raping the earth and causing pandemics for us. But instead, he just goes like, it's the China virus, and then you're like, the way he does it is so fucking insensitive that it sparks racial issues. And then, but then people on the left are like, can we stop making this a racial issue? And you're like, yeah, I agree with you, but also we do need to hold China accountable, right? They're not letting us go in, and you're like, you're both getting this wrong, but I understand why you on the left are feeling hurt. Because it's like, now we're bringing racial stuff. It's just like, we don't need racial issues involved in this. We just need to get like, this is humanity issues. This is our survival. Yeah. And then, on top of it, you're like, well, think about taxes. I'm like, yo, don't tax unemployment. It's bullshit. And the Republicans are like, we're anti-taxes. Except we're anti-taxes for big corporations, not for people who need tax cuts. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, wait, so who do I vote for here? You know what I mean? So anyway, it's truly, truly nuts. Now, one thing I'll say before we go, Aaron, last thing I'll say, it'll be really quick, is we have some listeners who are very socialist. You know? And one thing I'm noticing about socialists is like, you guys do not relent, man. Like, you guys will beat me up. Like, and I'm like, listen, I'll look at what you're putting out. I'm open to it. You know, I'm open to it. But don't get me wrong. Right now, currently, I'm pro-socialism for medicine, you know?
Okay.
But as a full socialist system, I've been burned by government inadequacies for so long that I have such a hard time believing that the government could do a great job. I want you to show me how you think a government this big can actually deliver with half of the country, more than half, 75 million people voted for Trump in this country who don't believe in government, how that actually works. Right. You know, if you're talking about it being small like a state, like California is like almost a socialist state, you know? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like that, then we could talk. You're saying on a massive scale, we can make socialism work? I don't know. I'm always confused about that. And that's why we're going to have Zan Khan back on the podcast. My friend who's an adamant socialist, a really fucking smart guy I went to high school with. He's going to come back on the podcast. He just had a kid, so he was going to come back. Cool. So we'll talk to him. But just don't say, I hear you guys. I'm reading what you're saying. I'm looking at it.
Just putting that out there.
I'm looking at it. Don't, you know, I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming to RGN, Aaron. Thank you for your special report. Get back on that train. You'll get back here.
I'm heading back to LA.
In about like 8 years, we'll be back.
Yeah. 6 to 9
Our trains
days.
are slow. Everybody,
No
thank you for
bullet
stopping
train.
by. Go to our, become a producer of the show. Submit articles. Get your arguments. If you disagree with something on here, post it on our Discord why you disagree. If you agree, thank me. Thank me over there. You get access to our Discord server. I'll help you out on patreon.com/regular guy news. Post your articles there. I look at them before we record the podcast. So get your articles in there and be a producer of this show. Regular Guy News, you guys contribute. I mean, how much more regular could it get? All right, everybody, thanks for listening. And listen, we're getting out of here. Aaron, thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for
everyone.
having me today.
Thank you for listening to RGN, the Regular Guy News. Everybody, tell people about the show. Follow us on YouTube. And most importantly, stay regular.